a comprehensive look at trends, fund profiles, and more in Exploring ETFs.
Hi everyone, Eric Ducham here with the latest edition of Exploring ETFs. This week, going to be talking to you about what's always been in the news here over the last couple of months, oil, and the huge crash that's taken place in this space. Well, as we've seen here over the last couple of months, oil prices, and specifically if we look at USO, which tracks WTI crude, and then also BNO, which tracks Brent crude, both of these are down about 30% in the last 3 months. So a huge loss for both of these very important products. And as we've seen over the last couple of months here, this is due to a large number of factors. Huge supplies in the U.S. thanks to fracking, no changes from OPEC, which really kind of drive demand and supply here, and then also supply issues. People are very worried about China and other emerging markets out there and what their growth is going to be like. So all these factors have combined to really push oil down and keep it down in this kind of doldrums here that we've been seeing. And as you might expect, this has actually flown through into the energy equity ETF space as well. If we take a look at XLE, which is the most popular energy ETF out there, this is down about 17.5% in the last 3 months. But we've also seen very weak performances from some of the more specialized names in the space. Oil services and drillers, just to name two, are down about 30% in the last 3 months. So it's really been a very depressed time for this space. But actually, if we look in the international market, we've also seen some heavy weakness in a couple of those names out there too. And that's because a lot of these international markets, they depend on oil for a lot of their trade, and it has a huge impact on their currencies as well. So some of these nations are going to be really impacted by oil and the prices that go on there, and that's especially true for a lot of the big exporters out there. And if we actually look here to some of the big exporting nations, Russia in particular has actually been in the news a lot, all for the wrong reasons as of late, and RSX is actually the top fund in that country. And Russia is actually one of the two or three biggest oil producers in the world out there, so they're going to be driven by any changes in oil prices. And as we can see here, the fund has lost about 30% in the last 3 months, but the ruble has also lost about 25% in the same time frame. So it's been a very weak play, and Russia and RSX actually has about 40% in the energy sector. So it's going to be very driven by any changes in oil prices. Up next, we have another emerging market, Colombia. GXG is the symbol we're looking at here. This country, it also a big oil exporter. About 25% of the country's exports are actually oil. About 20% of the fund is in energy, 40% in financials. This ETF is down about 30% in the last 3 months, and its currency, the peso, has lost about a fourth of its value against the dollar in the same time frame. Lastly, we're going to look at one more country. This is actually a developed market. Norway, NORW is the symbol here. And if we take a look here, North Sea Oil has made Norway one of the 10 biggest exporters of oil in the world. NORW has about 30% of its assets in energy stocks. The fund's down about 23% in the past 3 months, and its currency has lost about 10% in the time frame as well. So very weak performance for this developed market too. And as we can see here, energy has a huge impact on a lot of these international markets, and this has actually been pushing down countries across the globe. So just make sure to take a look at some of the commodities and how they might impact some of your currencies and country ETFs that you hold in your portfolio. Well, that's about all the time we have for today. Stay tuned. Next week, we'll have another episode for you of Exploring ETFs.